Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a review and breakdown of the truly awesome second trailer for the Masters of the Universe Revelation Netflix series. Now, as we all know, this is a sequel continuation of the iconic 80s animated series following the adventures of He-Man battling the evil forces of Skeletor to protect Castle Grayskull. Now, this series will debut on Netflix on July the 23rd, and it will be released in 2 batches of 5 episodes, hence the trailer title Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1. So the first 5 episodes will debut on July the 23rd, and then the second segment of 5 episodes will debut later on throughout this year. Now, I've done a review of the first trailer and I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. Quick thoughts overall, I was very impressed by the visual scope and action. So because I've given my own first thoughts, I will delve straight away into the second trailer and break down what I think overall. There are really 2 perspectives in how you can look at this trailer in terms of the look and in terms of the intent of the story beats and the plot overall. So in terms of a purely aesthetic and action scale, this trailer was absolutely incredible, even doubling more down on the first one in terms of epic action and spectacle. We've replaced the 80s Bonnie Tyler song with a much more cinematic theme, and it's absolutely great. We have some absolute fabulous visuals of the magic disappearing from the Eternia. We have large-scale battles where we see the forces protecting Grayskull. We have some awesome scenes of He-Man here splitting or dividing the sword, and it looks absolutely great. Great visuals here where we see him with his arms raised aloft, splitting the sword in half, it seems, and we see all of this energy surrounding him. We have another great shot here of Orko and Evelyn taking on a large dark beast here. Looks fantastic. We have other great shots where we see Roboto taking on these green zombies like here. We see Man-at-Arms in a hooded figure here taking on various enemies, as well as Teela leading the charge and fighting enemies as well. We have here another shot of the emergence of Mossman, and he looks absolutely fantastic. Very large in his appearance, very imposing. And we see throughout the trailer other characters looking fantastic, you know, the likes of Beastman and Trapjaw and Triclops looking all great, resembling very much the same visual look as what we remember from the original show. We have another great shot here where we see Orko exhibiting his powers. Very stylish, very good, very bright, very vivid here. Another fantastic shot here of He-Man standing on his own, a back shot here where he's facing off against all the great armies protecting Castle Grayskull. I love that visual shot. You see all of the muscles and tendons of He-Man in this back shot. It looks absolutely fantastic. So all of these shots here, from a pure visual point of view, are incredible. You know, this trailer alone in terms of the action beats, and it really had a certain amount of momentum and pace as it went on past the first minute on, and we see the thunderous clashes of all the heroes and enemies taking on each other. And in many ways, if we just got released these 2 trailers on its own and there was no background drama or internet narrative, which I will mention in a minute, then there would be a mega hype for this animated series overall. The trailers themselves promise that epic, grandiose, serious tone of that expansive fantasy animation series that's really worthy of what He-Man should be. Certainly, those 2 trailers alone, they give the same vibe as what we got with that 2002 reboot, which I still think is massively underrated and was a great visualization of both the mythology and the lore of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. But we do, however, have to look at the second perspective from the trailer from a story and plot point of view. Now, as I mentioned before, there has long been a big concern from this new series, primarily from He-Man fans, me included, about the story overall, and that this will be much more of a Teela focused story. Now, this concerns really originated way back when they originally announced the arrival of this show, and Kevin Smith, the showrunner of this series, released details of the plot synopsis detailing a Eternia that was under threat and the Masters of the Universe being scattered by an epic battle, and that it was up to Teela to restore the Sword of Power. Now, straight away, fans were a bit concerned as to why it's Teela. Why is Teela being a central figure in terms of being the one responsible for restoring the Sword of Power? Where is He-Man? Now, fans fully appreciate Teela as an important character of the universe, but wanted He-Man to be the lead, of course, because he is the hero of the franchise. Following what we've seen, certainly in the last 5 to 10 years, in terms of these classic franchises, a lot of fans worried, yet again, is this another iconic male hero character being superseded by a female for the sake of agenda, politics, woke initiatives? So, over time, after the initial synopsis had released, there has been this ongoing contention between Kevin Smith and certain internet personalities where he's tried to deny that the show will be a Teela-led series, but many fans and critics alike don't believe him, and certainly as we've received a lot more footage, a lot more screenshots, and now with these trailers overall, fans remain more convinced that this will indeed be a Teela-centric story at the expense of He-Man. Now, having seen the second trailer myself, I have to admit that yes, there is a lot more evidence to support the fact that this will indeed be focused very much on Teela and that she will be leading the story. We go to the very beginning of the trailer where we have a lead narration. Now, initially, I thought it was the sorceress that was speaking here, but the more and more I've watched the trailer, it sounds like very much like Lena Headey. Everybody knows Lena Headey played Cersei from Game of Thrones, and she will be voicing the character of Evil Lyn. So I think in the beginning of this narration line where we talk about the magic being gone from Eternia, and without magic Eternia will die and the universe will be destroyed, I think this is Evil Lyn. And again, where we go back to the original synopsis, we're building on a narrative that this is post the cataclysmic event, and Evil Lyn is discussing with Teela that very much that they have to work together in order to prevent the whole universe from being destroyed. So I think this is Evil Lyn talking at the beginning. And then we have a response from Teela stating that she built her life away from the source of magic. Now she's being asked to save it. We get that following scene where we see her throwing down her tiara. Is this a case that she's rejecting the association with the main palace? Is she arguing with King Randor and Queen Melina? Is she arguing with Prince Adam? Again, this is just speculation, but this is very much the vibe that the trailer is given overall. And then we have that shot where she throws down the tiara and we see her with the long hairstyle. And if we look certainly at the first 36 seconds to 40 seconds, Teela is prominent in the trailer, but before we see He-Man, she remains constant throughout the trailer where we see her fighting Stinkor with the certain mask that she's wearing. We later on see her leading the group, including the likes of Evil Lyn, Beastman and Adam. We have that other shot that we saw in the first trailer towards the end of this trailer where she's running forward and she's charging and she's saying for Eternia. When we are going by this trailer, everything it shows, it definitely seems to back up the original synopsis that this will indeed be a Teela-centric story. Now, going very much on what I'm seeing from the trailer here, I have to mention again, as per my commentary on the first trailer, I'm not a fan of Teela's look. I don't like her costume, as I mentioned in the first trailer, but here, when we see that initial shot where she takes off the tiara and we see her longer hairstyle, I just don't like the look. I don't like the look of the hairstyle, and I don't like the facial structure of Teela. Again, they're trying to, if not masculine her, they're trying to very much make her much more of a fiercer, more intense character, and it takes away a lot of her femininity that we remember so much so from the original look. And if you go through the trailer, you can very much notice the shifts in the time periods from Teela's look overall. In the earlier scenes where we see her clashing forward, we see her with a much more of her typical armor look. Again, they've added a lot more segments and details to it. So this indicates the beginning part of the story where we are focusing on the original battle. And then later on where we see her taking on certain forces, she's got that much more of the body armor. She's got that shaven hairstyle. This indicates that we are post the epic battle, and we can sense very much that Teela is much more of this broken down, angry, intense kind of character. We see some shots here again of her in that group shot with the likes of Beastman and Evil Lyn, and it does provide some interesting elements. Why exactly are they working for Teela? Why would they assume that she's equal to them when we all know Evil Lyn has magical powers? Unless, of course, this backs up the beginning narration where Evil Lyn has lost her magical powers following this big battle, and that's why she has to work well with Teela. What is it exactly that would compel the likes of Beastman and Evil Lyn to work with Teela overall? So that does raise some interesting questions. We have another very interesting scene where we see Evil Lyn with an aged woman which I think we can all assume is the sorceress, and we see them, it looks like they're splitting the energy of the sword. We see the shot here where we've got two shaped energy spheres of the sword along with this circle, which obviously I think represents planet Eternia. This is backed up by assumingly Evelyn stating that the sword of power has been divided, not broken. Again, tying back to the original synopsis. Once again, we go back to that great visual shot of He-Man splitting the sword. So, was this a necessary contingency plan to split the sword of power just in case Eternia comes under this huge force of evil? For me, perhaps a contentious point was the scene here where we see the dark He-Man emerging forward with the red eyes, and we see him fighting Teela. Now, clearly He-Man is under some sort of evil possession or influence. Now, this is contentious for me because, once again, it reminds me very annoyingly of Darkening, the inspirational hero, very much like what we got with the Injustice Superman or the DCEU Superman, where we're focused again on having this much more of this darker, evil interpretation, this alternate version of the character, because that's really cool, right? We have to make it edgy, taking this inspirational hero and making him evil with the red eyes. We saw that very much so in the DCEU Superman as well. Now, to be fair, we don't know exactly the context of this plot point here, but I anticipate that fans won't be happy if Teela indeed defeats He-Man in this scene, very much like the similar outrage that we had in terms of the Supergirl show, where, if you remember, Superman was under the evil influence of kryptonite and he fought Supergirl and Supergirl defeated him, and fans weren't very happy at the fact that Supergirl was powerful enough to defeat Superman. So I'm getting vibes of a similar narrative in this scene here. You know, it looks very good, very stylish, where we see He-Man close up to Teela, but I don't think it's going to please fans very much if Teela somehow bests He-Man in a battle, because Teela is a skilled warrior, but she's nowhere near the power scale of He-Man, so she shouldn't be able to defeat He-Man at all, whether he's under an influence or not. So that's a very concerning part for me. So overall, when I give an general summary of my feelings towards this second trailer, I'm tentatively enthusiastic. I'm very excited by the huge scale and the energy and the action and the animation, but at the same time, I am very worried, as both trailers do seem to support and confirm that this will very much be a Teela-centric story after we have an initial battle of Eternia. And He-Man, I guess, will be possessed by an evil force. Maybe he will be transported to an evil realm. And like many fans, I don't want to see that. You know, if you are telling me that we're going to have a modern Masters of the Universe television series, I want it to be He-Man at the lead. Now, as I mentioned before, nothing wrong with Teela being an important character. We followed that narrative through the original 80s version and also through the 2002 version. Teela is a very integral supporting character throughout the He-Man universe, but she's not the lead. He-Man is the lead. And when I look at this approach overall, I think it would have been far better to avoid any outrage if they'd just been honest from the start. In fact, I think it would have been even better if they just created a spin-off Teela series. And we had a narrative where you have a big battle, and following the big battle, Teela gets lost or she gets transported to a different realm. Standout story where Teela is trying to get her way back to Eternia to warn He-Man of a pending evil. I think if they'd have stuck to that original narrative, that would have been far better, because you're focusing on Teela, but you're not doing a disservice to He-Man, and you're not outraging fans overall. There's far less drama, and then you have the two trailers, and then it would have given people far more leeway to be more positive about the show overall. I really sense that we're going to get a similar narrative as to what we saw with the Castlevania Netflix series. And of course, if you know, that was the animation style produced by Powerhouse, who will be producing the animation for this show as well. Now, in that series, the first season, which I think was only around 4 to 5 episodes, we had the initial big event, just like this series, of the emergence of Dracula and him taking over the village. And near the end of the series, we established the main antagonists in Belmont, Sophia and Alucard, and then that led on to the second season when 3 of them were having these adventures tracking down the vampiric forces. So I think they're going for a similar dynamic here, backing up what we saw at the original synopsis overall. So I'm tentatively excited, and I just hope that this series does respect to He-Man, but seeing now from what we get from the trailers and the early indications, it seemingly does support the fact that this will be a Tilly-centric show. So I'm just fearing we're going to get another pouring of backlash and outrage when we see the show overall from the first 5 episodes, and then we presume again that the second batch of episodes will be all Teela, and maybe in the finale He-Man will resolve again at the end of the series. Again, we're not sure whether we will get a second or third season. That will very much be determined by the overall reaction to this first overall series. And I think it's the same, because I'm someone, I look to see these classic franchises very much continued in the modern day era, but at the same time, whether it's Superman, it's Batman, it's James Bond, Star Wars or He-Man, you have to stay true to the character. If you stay true to the character and stay true to the source material, that's great. But if you're going to continue these series and you're going to persist with these gender swaps and taking the focus away from the character, desecrating what they stand for and taking away the crucial elements as to what made them so special in the first place, then I really don't want any part of it, regardless of how well the animation and the visuals look overall. So those are my thoughts and feelings on the second action-packed trailer of Masters of the Universe, the Revelation series. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How are you feeling about this trailer in terms of the visual aesthetics and also from the plot points? Do you think this trailer near enough confirms as to what we heard about this show from the beginning? And do you think Kevin Smith would have been more better advised as to not respond to the early criticism and just let this show play out and let it be judged on its own merits? So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please also hit and like those subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality and content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.